Now, it's no secret, because I've talked about this on numerous occasions, probably ad nauseum, but I don't think it's any secret that myself and many other fans were not particularly fond of the Mecha Sally World Tour 2 Death Egg Mark II arc. I don't think any of us were. And it's it's mainly the fact that when you think about this arc, it's like you understand why Ian Flynn wanted to do this. You understand why he wanted to go in this direction. But it's one thing to want to do it, and then it's another to execute it the way you want to. I mean, like I've said before on numerous occasions in numerous audio videos, or on-screen videos or live streams, it's one thing to put out a blueprint of what you have planned. It's one thing to put out direction and basically have the trajectory of where you're going to go in each, route, if you will. It's one thing to do that, you know, but it's another to execute it, to perfection or near perfection or to execute it properly. And when it comes to the Mecha Sally Death Egg Mark II World Tour 2 arc, it wasn't done that way. I mean, it started off promising, there's no doubt, as much as I hate to admit it. And I've said that numerous times too. But at the end of the day, I think even those that helped work on it, along with Ian Flynn, would agree that after a few issues, it fell flat on its face. It did. I mean, there were a lot of things left out. A lot of things left out. I mean, as I said in the live stream earlier, you had fans like Glitcher having to fill in the gaps with his Sonic Retold, webcomic, just to kind of give us an idea of exactly how certain things came to be. As graphic as they may have seemed, to the, I guess you could say, the human eye, from a Sonic comic related, product or fan product. I mean, even Glitcher themselves said they could not, really bring themselves to do what they had to do, but they did it. Because, like a lot of us, they love Sally. And they didn't want to see her be tortured. Which is why I think that is the biggest, hanging point over Ian Flynn doing his run, writing Sonic comics with its IDW or Archie. That is the biggest thing that hangs over him. I mean, you can't tell me that fans that go to conventions, do Q&As with him, you cannot tell me that not one of them, if not several of them, ask him the same question as to why. Why did you have to drag Sally into this? Why did you have to put her through this hell? Why didn't you just, make it short and sweet and to the point and restore her and be done with it? I'm sure he's gotten questions like that asked to him out the wazoo. And you can't blame fans for doing that. You can't. You can't blame them for doing that whatsoever. I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm the fan that came on camera when this first all started and said, I am not reading a single issue until it's done. Yeah, I kept subscribing, but I was going to read an issue. And when it finally did end, what did I do? I read the issues and I reviewed them right here on YouTube. That's what I did. And it's all because of the fact that I felt this was a dumb idea. I mean, I get you want to redeem Sally after all the hell and undevelopment her character went through over the past numerous writers like Carl Bolas and Ken Penders and so on. I get that you want to redeem her, you want to rebuild her up, make her back into the Sally. But you didn't have to go in this direction. You didn't. You did not have to go in this direction. I mean, going back to something I've mentioned recently, you go and you build up Sonic and Sally's relationship, to where they're boyfriend and girlfriend again, only for that to be temporarily, not temporarily, but only for that to be temporary, I should say, for 8 issues at most. And then what do you do? What do you do? at the end of 230, oh, I'm going to have Sally sacrifice herself, throw that all away, and basically become a slave of Robotnik and or Eggman. And then, oh, by the way, I'm going to have Eggman basically take her apart, rebuild her and weaponize her to basically ensure that de-robotization is not possible, potentially. Just to mess with the fan feeling. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm sure I'm not the only one that agrees with this. If you did not want to put them together as an item, then why build up to that moment? Why build up to it? You could have easily just had her be with Monkey Kong, and she's using a wolf ring back and forth to be with it. You could have easily done that, been done with it. But nope, you didn't do that. Instead, you decide, I'm going to put them back together, and then I'm going to tear them apart. And then, oh, by the way, when I get to the reboot, I'm not going to even attempt to put them together, or at least, admit or acknowledge that there's something still between them attractive-wise and flirtatiously. I'm going to just have them be BFFs, and that's it. And look, maybe from the LGBTQ community, they might like that, and all due respect, hey, if that's your jam, go for it. I mean, I'm cool with Sally Nicole pairing, don't get me wrong, but still, it's like, you build up the relationship only to, snatch it away from the fans that have been wanting to see it for a long time. And you do it in the most basically insulting way, in the most character assassinating way. That's the only way people look at it. I mean, people can complain about what Ken Penders did to her character-wise, what Carl Bolas did to her character-wise, and so on. But the truth of the matter is, they would even agree that despite how they felt about their depictions of Sally, whether good, bad, in between, despicable, whatever, all of them would agree that none of them would go as far as to do a character assassination like what Ian did by basically, building up a relationship, teasing the fans, dangling the carrot in front of them of, hey, see, I got him back together, only to take it away because in his eyes, oh, I'm going to have Sally redeem herself completely, full circle. Oh, and as a result, she's going to get roboticized and then weaponized. It's like, again, why even bother? You did not need to have to put them together if you were going to do that. You didn't. And again, I go back to the fact that even if you were going to go this route with this story, you should know how fans were going to feel about it. And as a result, you should have been like, yep, I'm just going to do it for about 6 to 8 issues at length in the main comic and maybe 4 issues in the Universe comic, and that's about it. No. What'd you do? With the exception of 242, which did have a little bit of a backstory connected to it, what did you do? For about 17 issues, almost 2 years, 7 months away from 2 years. But what did you do? For 17 issues. Well, 16 and a half if you want. But for 17 issues in total. 17 issues in total. What did you do? Instead of doing the right thing and shortening it up, you decided to drag it out and drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. That's what you did. And fans have not forgiven him for that. Look, even fans that didn't forgive him, they can understand, oh, right, okay, Ian, we get it. You wanted to create your own magnum opus. You wanted to create your own world, crisis at world's end. Or you wanted to create your own, end game or Infinity War, kind of like story. You wanted to create your own end game, a la Ken Penders. You wanted to basically create your own event comic, but what you did is you failed. You failed at the most important aspect of it. And that is the fact, if you're going to do an event comic, you need to make sure you don't focus on a singular main comic and doing it. And that instead, you spread it out. And guess what? You didn't have the Sonic comics you needed except for Universe to spread it out. Instead, you just focused on the main comic and that's it. And like I said earlier, with the exception that it may have started out good, as much as I hate to say that, you went downhill from there. Everybody knows Ian went downhill from there because of the way the story was rinse and repeat. You never once, Ian Flynn never once gave any inkling that Sally might get restored. I mean, yeah, there might have been little moments here and there, like when she went into the hut of her brother and his family, just as they escaped, and she's looking out the window. You can kind of tell, like maybe there's a little remorse, like maybe a little bit of free will is breaking through, but not enough. Not enough. You never really gave a true inkling. Never. It's like, again, it's like you didn't know what to do. And then on top of that, as I mentioned in the live stream, I think honestly, in my opinion, you knew about what was going to happen, or at least you and your crew heard about, what was going to happen, Ian. And I think Ian realized that this is going to screw up any potential ideas for his story. And because he couldn't really say anything, he had to basically, change things up. And it took us as fans finding out on the internet what was going on. What was going on? Why certain things were changing? Why certain things were being edited out? Why certain things that felt like they were jumping over each other? It took us finding out, through the internet what was happening. Ian Flynn, look, like I said in the live stream, I'll give him credit. Maybe he wanted to tell us, but I think what happened is he ended up signing an NDA. Him and his team signed NDAs so they couldn't say anything about what was going on as to why the changes were happening and why we didn't get a decisive conclusion. And you know what's even crazier? Ian Flynn promised, he promises, I'll let you in on what was supposed to happen on my Lost Hedgehog Tales. But did he do that? Oh yeah, he only did it for what? One chapter or whatever it was, one little plot line, whatever it was, one part. And then that was it. We didn't get any more. I don't think he put a number 2 up. And why? Because of an NDA he signed. I guarantee you that's what it was, an NDA. Thus, when you look back at the Mecha Sally arc, despite starting off, like I said, as much as I hate to admit it, and I know I'm being repetitive here, as much as I hate to admit it, even though it started out good, it just, went down heel from there on a very repetitive streak. And it became all for naught. It became all for naught. Because what happens? Just when it looks like they're about to save her, get ready to restore her, we get another Genesis wave that leads us into the crossover, with Mega Man. And then after the crossover, what happens? How do you explain? She's back and they got these redesigns. You have to basically alter from your original idea. And essentially what you do is you basically say, it's because of the crossover that everybody's like this now. And then the only way you tie things in together is you have Nicole be the Deus Ex Machina, the key, if you will, to basically getting all the memories back. And then that's it. And then the only last whimper of it that you have for Sally being traumatized about what she did is Nicole talking to her and saying, hey, you're not going to do this right now. We're all still, we're all still basically recovering from the mixed memories. But remember, you are the Sally of this timeline. And that what happened in the past, in that past timeline, doesn't matter anymore. That was the old line, the old timeline. This is the new one. And you're not that way anymore. You're not that way. Hold on for a second. Like I said, basically, it just went downhill. Just straight down. And it's, like I said, it was all for naught. It was all for naught. That's all it was. That's all it really was all for naught. And look, like I said, like I mentioned, and we get that certain writers, up and coming, whatever, they want to do stories that want to establish themselves. And I get he wanted to probably look at this as being his, magnum opus story that was going to establish himself. But again, he basically, I think, did not plan it. I mean, he planned it outright. Don't get me wrong, the blueprints he probably had figured out, the directions, the trajectory he was going to go in with certain directions. He probably had that all planned out. Don't get me wrong. But executing it did not go off the way he wanted. And then, like I said, he was going to talk about what was going to happen in the Lost Hitchhik Tales, and what happened. Did he do that? Oh, what? He only gave us one part, maybe two, and that's it? Nothing else? And why? Because of NDAs. I guarantee you an NDA came into play. I guarantee you that's what happened. Look, we can repetitively talk about the Mecha Sally arc all we want, all day long. But at the end of the day, if you're Ian Flynn or any up-and-coming artist or writer, you want to do something like this to put yourself on the map, you need to make sure that you plan it out correctly. You need to make sure you have a plan and a backup plan in place, just in case something happens. That's what all writers should have. I mean, why do you think sometimes the stories that are advertised are not always the stories we get when it comes to other topics? Because of the fact that the story might have had to be altered, or maybe they have to rely on their backup plan because of changes behind the scenes. The truth of the matter is this. Ian Flynn, if he ever wants to wonder why the Mecha Sally arc will never be released as a trade paperback, even if IDW gets the rights or does an agreement with RC and Sega to do so, if he ever wonders why that's not going to happen, then all he has to do is look at what he did, from a story aspect, and realize that maybe doing these kind of stories is not his forte. I mean, we saw the same kind of result with the Metal Virus arc. People were getting bored to death with that one. It's just like the Mecha Sally arc, it got to the point where things were getting repetitive. The only thing that got people talking was the moments when notable characters would get infected, and that was it. But still, it's like, he needs to realize he can't do those kind of stories without a proper plan. And it looks like someone at IDW hopefully sat him down and said, Ian, enough. Because we don't see it that much anymore now. This was not, in my opinion, the best idea for not just Sally, but for any character. You could have put Bunny Rabbit in there. Nobody would. Nope. You could have put Bunny Rabbit on there. Bunny Rabbit in her position, Sally's position. Fans would still feel the same way. They would hate it because people love Bunny Rabbit. You could put Nicole in there, and fans would hate it because people love Nicole. If they allowed you to, you could put Amy Rose in there, and fans would hate it because they love Amy Rose. Thing is, no matter who you would put in there outside of Sally, fans would have not liked this idea, period. And you got fans that come out and they say that Ian did this because he never liked Sally, period. No, I don't believe that. I do believe he loves Sally. I do. It's just that he basically couldn't use any other character or think of any other character to use, and he wanted to go the more impactful route. Well, the more impactful route got you negative responses from fans. Basically, got everybody hating on the art, and basically caused you to realize, hopefully, that the next time you do something like that down the line, then maybe you shouldn't choose a beloved character to do it. Then maybe you should just go a route that would seemingly be more, I guess you could say, just as effective, if not as bad. More along the line, hopefully he's learned, like I said, he's learned his lesson. Hopefully he's learned his lesson as a metal virus are. Because again, like I said, that was long, lengthy, and repetitive, and people were getting sick and tired of it. Even those that reviewed the comic were getting sick and tired of it. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. Hopefully, members of his team, Ricky Yarland, Evan Stanley, hopefully they've learned their lesson. They realized, doing those kind of stories, affecting beloved characters or putting beloved characters, in that situation may not be the best idea. Because I can guarantee you this. Ian Flynn making Sally into a strong character redesign-wise, I can tell you right now, the representatives of Sega, those at RT, they heard the backlash, and they got on Ian, and they said, Ian, once you bring her back and the others back, don't ever do something like that again. I guarantee you they talked to you. Guarantee you that. It's like, to me, I look at this like, if he wanted to salvage the Mecha Sally art, all he had to do was push whatever plans he had for like 250 or whatever, 275 or whatever, push them forward, knowing upon hearing about the legal situation that he had to sign an NDA on. He should have pushed those stories forward and told his team, hey, we got to focus on this now. We're going to have to rush this ending out and be done with it. Then you know what he could have done? And I said this in the live stream, and I said it on the live stream, and I think I said it in the previous video. What he could have done is done that, took a break, done the Mega Man Sonic crossover, put in the little yellow box or green boxes on the corner of the pages, say another time, another place, or put that at the beginning of the book, another time, another place, and go from there. And then use the next 4 issues of the main comic to help tell the story, along with 4 issues of Universe, 4 issues of Mega Man, and be done with it. And then as soon as you would get to 51, 52, 53, 54, as soon as you get to 55, then you could have started your Return of the Freedom Fighters Sonic Unleashed arc right then and there in the present time frame. Not have to worry about any reboots or anything like that. But he didn't do it. He didn't think that way. To me, that would have been the more logical way. But honestly, because if I'm him and I start getting wind of, hey, something legally is going to halt us. It's going to hold us back from doing what we got to do for this story. Once I start getting wind of that, and then to confirm my suspicions, I get called in along with my team and told what's going on, and maybe told to sign these NDAs because we can't say anything legally. You know what I do? I push whatever plans I have set for later on. I push those forward to the front, and I say, let's get this part of the story done and out of the way, and then move on. That's what I would have done. But he didn't do that. Instead, he did what he felt was the more proper way of doing things. He decided to go the worlds collide direction and decided to use the restoration of the world by both Mega Man and Sonic as the super forms as a way to basically give us what we did. And look, I'm not going to lie. As I said in the live stream, I'll give them credit where it's due. They did what they had to. And they did it decently. But they could have avoided all of that if they would have had a backup plan, or at least would have planned properly once they probably got wind of what was going on and maybe got told what was going on and had to sign the NDAs. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to get this off my chest. Just thinking about it, it's, it's still one of those situations where, it's still frustrating to think that, it's just frustrating to really fathom that, he did this. I mean, Ken Penn just roboticized her, but temporarily, and he kept to his original design. He didn't go as far as to say, hey, Robotnik, tear her apart, weaponize her. He didn't do that. Ian did. So yeah, it's just frustrating that he would do that to a beloved character. And again, I'm sure he got a talking to afterwards. I'm sure he got a talking to afterwards when it was all said and done, not to do something like that again. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comment section, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And until then, I will talk to you all next time.